how the Great
My
War
camera on my
changed
$800
people.
computer is like 30s, like representation of like what technology makes to where you only get what you. But you think people will ask for like $1 billion and only can do like for 100,000? You think you could live in something that doesn't have
So you don't really like this
the
place?
On top of all the
Basically,
digital artifacting, I'm
living
not sure
expenses are
if
high, right?
Anita
Get a
is
job,
watching
money
these
makes
play
so
out
much,
on
and
her
then you get
phone,
married
and
to
while
somebody.
yes, that does set
It's
a
split
bit of an odd atmosphere, it
50,000
continues to be
whatever,
more of a
make
negative
100,000 a
quality
year,
because I'm
whatever
now
the fuck.
distracted by the bad
I know as
and
be able
not
to fucking
invested in
live,
the story of this
you have to
moment.
live with
They cut
expenses
in
of
these
those game
text
companies.
conversations between
Grace and me
Anita
told me
and her
that
friends, and she
they
often
value for
remarks
paying.
on what she's seeing. But at no point
No.
does she try and use her cell phone to any sort of emergency
Having it
services.
on.
She just talks to other teenage girls.
I
Just
supported
occasionally
Sony.
remarks
I know
on
they
the
make fun of
environment she's
people.
in.
I know they make
That's
fun of me
weird.
on there.
If the
I don't
laws
really
were
care.
blatant enough, they have to drop these child
Selling drugs,
abuse and
playing a
neglect
video game.
statistics, and then
I'm
she
not
just
selling
stumbles into the
drugs.
next
I'm
room
not
where there's
selling
an
drugs to
table
people.
littered
I have
with
doctors
various
that write to me
antidepressants.
to take medicines that have been diagnosed with severe
Like maybe not front
depression
load the game
because
with
people have made
this.
fun of
Build
me
up
every
to
day.
it. Earn it. Treat
And
it
the
like it's
hospital
not an
intervened
after school
and made it to where
anti-suicide, anti-bullying
you go to
PSA.
the doctors
The
and
very
get write a
next
bad
room,
prescription and tell
blood-filled
you that
bathtub
they want you to
and
come
loose
back within a
razor
couple of
blade
months every
in the
month. And I
sink.
had it.
If
I almost
this
filmed the
imagery
last
wasn't
time,
enough to
but I
deliver
didn't
the
film it
point of
because
what
I didn't want
happened
them
in
to
this
get mad.
bathroom, we
Someone
now
else.
have to watch it on a badly burned
I didn't mean. I know
DVD.
I post what I have
Thanks, Konami. The
to
game starts to pick up from here.
realize I have
Anita has her
80,000
first
views and
encounter with the
108
Sakura
subscribers. I
monster. This is
appreciate
supposed
the
to be a story
subscribers.
moment, but I was
If I could
curious
see
to know
that
what it
it
looked like, so I
doesn't
ran
show me
directly
who
into it to
automatically
get a better look, and it killed me.
tells you who's on, like who's on the other side
This
of
is your
this. Like it
standard
doesn't
theater
show who
one-hit
subscribes to
kill
you, so
monster
it's
chase
always like that.
sequence. We're absolutely
On
defenseless, and all
Facebook,
you're
it's a little bit
expected to
different.
do is run and open doors. It's somewhat similar to the raw shock encounters in Silent Hill Shattered
I have
Memories,
a
only you're given no methods of defense or means to slow down the Sakura monster. The phone static acts as a monster detector, so the louder it is, the closer the monster is. Despite what you might
That's
think
good.
by now, I did appreciate the level design. They got that run-down, cracked-in project's apartment feeling.
I was a
somewhat
grant
similar
writer,
to
and
Kabooie
the guy
Creek
never
in
met this
Candyland.
whoever the fuck
Possible
sent her to be able
influence?
to
I
tell
can't
him
say
that
for sure, but the
Molly Garcia was
interiors are
tripping balls and made that John Paul Garcia
unmistakably
seem like he was more
Anita is
intelligent.
trying to track down her
If it
friend
was, how
Maya,
come
who
he
is
had
a
got
super
God?
popular
Well,
graffiti
fucking at
artist
night,
that
he could
goes
have ran
by
the other
handle
way when they're all at the
CD. She
party.
has many one-sided text
I
message
don't think that
exchanges with Maya,
it
where Maya
was
doesn't really acknowledge
deceptive
what
to be able to
say.
frame you for something. I read him with thing shirt out in the
Exact
restaurant.
same way of
It had a
conveying
photograph
story
of it.
in
I
text
deleted that album to
messages.
that asshole saying that
It's quite
I'm
apparent
fed
that
up with you
Anita
having a
is living in the
Facebook.
shadow
Delete the
of her
Facebook
friend
off
Maya,
there.
and she's quite
Delete
jealous of
Facebook,
her
and I
follower
didn't delete
count
fucking
and
Facebook off
influence
there.
on the
I
social
just
realm. And
fucking
I
logged
get
off
what they
to
were
like
trying to do here in the
computer
story,
and
because
log
this is a
into
very
whatever they
real
can't log
phenomenon
into it.
that
So
teenagers
they
and
need your
young
device
people
and
go
then
through,
it's
this
phone.
digital envy thing.
Not
But
all
I
the
don't
receipts
know.
have
I
to
feel
take
they could have
pictures
done
with me.
this without all the weird
When I
ghostly
go
narration
out
on
places,
top of
people
it
will
to
say, "Oh,
act
we have
as
your
the
back. We
comments
like your
narrated
support.
aloud.
We
No
watch
sexy
your
stuff
content."
from home. Another part of my mind says this is kind of effective because it's here to illustrate how pathetic Anita truly is in her pursuit of clout.
This was
But it just
a
didn't
PlayStation
feel
4 I
authentic
bought
in the way
back
it
then,
was
and
portrayed.
they had
Like,
my
this is how a
account.
middle-aged
It no
Japanese
longer
man perceives
allows me to
asynchronous
log into the
interaction with
account.
social media
It wasn't
today,
banned,
because
but
that's the
I can still
exact
play
way this was
PlayStation 3
written
games
and
with the account.
portrayed. I will admit, I was
But I
quite
can't
surprised
log
to
into
see
it and
Thug
download
Life
different
written
games
on the
or
wall in a silent
download
emoji.
it
There was
into
a
the
lot of
software, but it
subtext to
wouldn't give me
unpack.
another
What did
message,
Ito-san mean by
another
this?
message
After another
for
brief encounter with the Sakura
having the damn
monster,
thing.
Anita makes her way up to the
It
rooftop.
wasn't decent.
She
Like
sees
I
this
don't fuck
beautiful
cockroaches
mural that her
or
deceased friend Maya
it wasn't
left,
used.
and I
It
guess
was
that's
in
also
decent. It was
giving
in
Maya a
decent
lot of
condition.
posthumous
It
clout,
was in
which
decent.
Anita is jealous
It was
of,
decent
and they just
shape.
decide to spell that out for you, and they cut in these
It wasn't like a sick
reverb
fuck
lines
and
of Anita's
cum
murder
and
that
fart and shit all
distractingly
over
break
it.
up
I
the
don't know, I was a sick
somberness of the
fuck, but
situation and turn
I
it
know
into
that
something
I had the
unintentionally
computer.
hilarious.
The only thing's worth the damn computer.
Anita takes a long walk off a
They
short
email that
message
you love her
falls to her
because you
death,
got
and we land
high
on
score.
another anti-suicide PSA screen
I don't know
in
who
the
watches
middle of the game.
my content. People will make fun of me. Oh, you still live. My parents care about me. They don't want nothing bad to happen to me. Nobody wants nothing bad to happen to nobody, but weird shit will always happen to people.
Back up at the villa where she started,
I just be able to believe that
she hasn't died. And then she talks to the
they
ghost
tell
of her
you
dead
you're
friend,
gonna be okay.
Maya, which
The
is
hospital
fine, I
wants to
guess.
see
You
you
can't leave until you find
be okay.
find
They
what
don't want you
exactly.
to upset and
Our cell phone
suicidal and
flashlight
shit.
went out. I wonder how this is going to factor into the
This
gameplay. With the
probably weighs
absence
like
of the
80
flashlight,
pounds.
the level designers smartly
The thing's
chose
corroded
to
on
use
the.
natural
the only thing
sources of
that's wrong
light
with
or
it is the
fixed
USB is
lights to
corroded.
highlight areas
might
of
not-
interest in a subtle way.
I guess
If
it's
only they didn't include
sitting
these
there on
bits
it.
of dialogue to click on and hear a voice sample.
I mean, I can sell it.
I can
To the
already
highest bidder.
read Bad Girl Gets an Empty Plate. It
But I
doesn't
don't
make
want
it
to put
any more
anything other than whatever the
interesting
fuck
if
it
you
had on there.
narrated
That
it
little
with
fucking
cathedral
like
reverb.
jailbreak
There
it,
are
and
these
then they're able to
silhouettes
fucking
of
say that you
Leah's
can't play your
mom
list
that
of games
occasionally
on
cut in,
PS5.
and the
It's because
combination of
you
the
end up
rapid
fucking
body
upgrading
movements
and
and
shit.
bad dialogue just made me bust a gut laughing. They're really bad.
This is all your fault. Bad things happen because of you. You're not free.
The next bully scene is also unintentionally hilarious. Anita enters this room and starts doom scrolling CV's Instagram and starts honing in on all the troll comments, shitting on her artwork. And I couldn't help but think that maybe Masahiro Ito provided the script writers with some of the comments that he gets on his artwork on Twitter. I just had that image in my head. Like, I just wanted to provide another layer of authenticity to this very serious scene. And he's got like a stack of all of his hate comments printed out. And then comes a condemned criminal origins mannequin moment. Oh, wow, this is fresh. Like I said, the game deals with a lot of serious, real themes about bullying and the pursuit for validation and self-worth and the lengths in which people will go to feel better about themselves. All of that is fine to commentate upon, but I don't think it was handled from a perspective of somebody who was more sensitive to these issues, and more so it was just like old men kind of think-tanking what they perceive the Zoomer condition to be in the current era. There's a moment where Anita warps into her high school, and this moment alone changed my entire perception on this project. That sense of deja vu just hit me over the head. Like I have experienced this exact scenario, not in my life, but in another game, The Missing by Swery65. Holy shit, they lifted this exact same scene, shadow silhouettes of teenagers throwing cans and all, from The Missing. This struck me like a bolt of lightning. A lot of this game's themes were not only borrowed from The Missing, such as the conveyance of a lot of the game's dialogue through text messages with ethereal recipients, as well as the blatant trigger warning up front, the chase sequences with an allegorical self-harm monster, and now the shadow bully scene set in a high school. It's kind of exhilarating that somebody is plagiarizing Swery for a change, and not vice versa. If the influences weren't blatant enough, Konami was also trying to ape the bit of PT by including stuff like this blinking eyeball plastered wall hallway and a section of the game that loops and supernatural things happen during each loop.
What did I do to deserve this?
We come to find out that Maya
I don't know how I
stole the
got
attention
told by
from
people
Anita's
out of
best
like town
friend
and stuff, dude.
Amelie, and Anita was
Yeah,
jealous
not
of
even
their
people aren't here
friendship
in the
and
United States,
desperately
and they
wanted
will troll you.
Maya's attention.
I never
So she
understood
might
why
have
being
done
trolled. Like, I
something
don't
bad
have
to
like my
report
email
her
attachment.
to
I have
a
like
library
an email
where
attachment that
Anita
has since like
reads about an
2014 or
incident
15.
in
I
the
don't have nothing bad. I
1930s
don't
where a
have animals
Japanese woman was perceived to
or
be a witch, and
women
she
on
cast a
there,
curse
porn
upon
stars
this
and
German
shit,
town.
because
This is supposed
I don't want to
to
get caught up in that because it's like
going
weird
on
to
in
have
modern
sub on your
day.
e-bill
This witch
attachment
bully
that
scene
has
is
your name on
clearly
it.
a
It
nod
has
to
your money
Alyssa
information,
Gillespie
like
from Silent
PlayStation,
Hill,
Nintendo,
with
or
graffiti on the
Xbox.
desk and
That's
all.
all I
Then
fucking
the game
YouTube.
introduces its
I'm
only
not really
real
bothering
puzzle,
anybody,
and
and if
it's
I
not
do
half
tell
bad.
somebody,
You're
they're
in the
gonna like
locker
be
room
freaked out
area.
about
You
whatever
have
the
to figure
fuck
out the
tell you that
combination to
oh
this
you wrote
lock.
to them, but
Your
they
only
don't like
clues
it
are the
anymore,
words
so
liar
it's not
written
worth.
in various colors on
It's
this
not worth.
desk, and a
Like I had
series
this
of
mask
numbers
since like
graffitied
2019.
onto the walls.
I went to
Cross-reference
the hospital,
information,
almost
and
lost the
boom,
mask
that's as complicated
because
as
they
this
gave me another
game
mask
gets
to wear, and I'm like, I have a
We
mask
then
already,
come to
but they're
the
like, they have to
startling
put this mask on.
realization
And
that
I thought I
Anita
lost the
was
mask.
the true bully all
And I ended up
along,
having the
and
mask.
was the
So
root
I
cause
don't
in
think that's to
suicide.
like
How was I
blamed for
supposed to know she actually killed herself?
Thus, the
Like, she
player
was supposed to be
questions
touching
themselves.
nurse's ass
Should I
in the
continue
first
playing on, knowing
Forge
that I
with you
am
and
a
end
bad
up
guy?
getting like
Silent Hill 2 is my favorite game.
no real
I
like
didn't
common
like it there,
denominator of
anyone
how
can be
often that
redeemed. So let's
occurs
press on. After
in a
another
hospital
chase
system. They
sequence
probably
with the
don't care
Sakura
about like
monster,
if
Anita finds herself back
you
on the
want to
roof.
take a shower
This
there,
time
you
with the
didn't
new
want to take a
information
shower or
that she
anything.
caused this entire mess.
You didn't smell or
She's
anything, but you just didn't want to
inconsolable
take a
and
shower at a
decides once
hospital
again
because
to jump from the
it's not
roof
really worth
into another
being in a
anti-suicide
hospital
PSA.
for
Add one to the
diabetics.
board. This hard cut to an
Being like
anti-suicide
with the
PSA is one of the most
I
corny
rated
deliveries
needed.
of a very
I
serious
didn't want to take a shower at a
situation
hospital.
that
I
I've
went to
ever
don't like
encountered. Yet they do
any
it
of that stuff
multiple
in the show.
times. The only way I could think to make this scene even cheesier.
I'd be the last person to go to the hospital. I waited a whole year. Could have went back and flirted with her,
Perhaps the
but
most
not really
insulting
sure.
bits of the
I could go
legacy
back
of
to hospital
Silent
and
Hill
flirt
is
with
the
her.
way
It's
in
not
which
gonna,
they
it's not
try
gonna
to
get me anywhere. I
shoehorn
want
a
to
short
crazy.
message into the lore of the
Fucking going to
games.
a hospital.
Silent Hill is not only a physical place, but it's also a
Why the fuck you
psychological
go to the hospital?
condition.
Yeah,
That's not really there. The Silent
you
Hill
don't get that really work for their various information that tell you one day they
people become psychologically unstable and start to see crime. The Silent Hill phenomenon is an Mandalorians of the Silent Hill series. This is why Anita is seen
I think it's
as
fair to
such
be
a
good by
disease,
people.
not
They're
because
gonna
she's
need
in
to
Silent
fly to the
Hill,
hospital.
but because of the COVID-19 pandemic.
I don't
Which
fucking
caused
think
this
they're
Silent
psycho
Hill
and they're
phenomenon.
all psychopathic shit as well. It's traumatizing to go to the jail to the hospital. And you have insurance. It's not like they got their insurance and I had that without going on.
In the small
And I was
section of
diabetic.
the game, we learned how her family fell apart
Diabetic and I had eye surgery, all that surgery.
diagnosis, thinking that she would never get
Vitamin
remarried. She has
deficiency
two
or you
kids.
get
She
dependent
develops an
on coming
alcohol
back.
dependency, goes insane, and ends up killing Anita's
Yeah, all that
mother
shit
by
and
hiding
I
in
don't
the closet,
have
and
a
then
job
dumping
or
his
something.
infant
They
body in
need
the
money.
fridge, and then later locking Anita in the closet. All of these are very horrific events. They kind of add
Yeah, people tell
context
you
to
what
the
crazy
psyche
shit.
of
I don't even know who the fuck is telling you this fucking shit. Ain't meant for them. Tell you that shit and they take your identity off of the guy's brown hair that have jet black hair. Jet black hair and all have a beard.
That throws all the sincerity directly into the garbage.
I log off and keep my hands and I take straight to the paper and get the put in. I bought all that shit brand new.
Because you're rushed through all these hallways where it's clear Masahiro Ito created sentences that have great importance to Anita's life and all the trauma she's experienced. And because you're being chased down by the Sakura monster, you don't have any time to stop and smell flowers in a manner of speaking. After the encounter, all the remaining plot threads are cleared up to make a manner possible. Then you go to this candle hallway, which instantly gave me a flashback to the medium. Didn't they do this exact same thing near the end of that game? Where the character walks by important relics of their life through a candlelit hallway? Am I misremembering that? Once again, we're up on the rooftop. Nina has a phone call.
people like to finish with the license. I did. You know, so I have to under the feet. I'll make sure all the shit is off and that is shit. It's possible. Yeah, one of the doctors said, well, they need it, but the girl wants to their order is that the cancer back. Yeah, and said it had it coming out and a week another and making a lot of these. They should do more. I'm happy that she got it. And then picked by the doctors, different doctors for additional attack. The organizing some kind of like human organ, like organism that comes in here. I don't want to say a lot. We had EET, but at that point in time, we had a spread kind of they still did it.
It's so camera that we're putting on right now is the TJI Osmo Pocket 3. Look out for that again. The film has been out for almost a year.
I'm gonna end up like
This is still
Dale breaking a console, not buying a
There's
PS5.
a lot of people in our audience that
Only person having a
should not
Switch.
keep up the DJI.
The PS4 had all the video games from 2012 or whatever. I was going to go fucking play all that shit on the PC, but the ability of like a whole list of things that you download and drag and drop it. That's interesting if you can get to actually run on that shit. That's sadly cool. I think that you're able to tell you that one thing and going forth and doing another thing. A hospital, but oh, you come back to the hospital without them doing anything for you. We need you for some more. Have to at least tell you what the reason is. I can't just fucking do it. I'm not gonna go for it. I don't want them to fucking hurt me or whatever the fuck out there. It's hurt by them. I'm not feeling it. I should have never written the fucking Larry Williams, so you should have known what the hospital motherfuckers. Bob Williams committed suicide. He's mental. So fucking those guys like like 62 or whatever now. 5 6 go around, I guess. It's really sure. We could borrow money from a bank and move someplace else. Then I end up doing that. I don't want to hear the years from now. Then we have to go for the phone and ask. It would have been harsher. Obviously, they're gonna do all this. They might as well go right in front of my parents. It's not gonna be like worth worth taking something from you if they can't log into it. Not the one.
There's also some slow motion modes where you're able to shoot
ability to log into
4K
it.
at 120 frames per second, as well as 1080p at 240 frames per second. There's also a low light video mode that I tested out with my family went to Romsey, a really big museum.
PC, I can play that shit. I can run a game.
And I was really surprised at how well this camera held up in those low light situations.
On
Certainly not as well as a 4K
Steam, I can get a Steam account and then hope that the computer runs
but definitely better than an iPhone.
Damn thing, but if it doesn't, I don't want to buy a
This
Steam
museum is
account. The only
absolutely
thing you
wild.
got to
But
play is
anyways, one of the coolest features
that
of
comes
the
out.
is its ability to actively track the subject. So right now,
That-
I have it just set on this bench on this little tripod stand.
I buy
It's
it.
able to
I'm
track
just gonna
me
buy another
wherever
phone
I go.
device.
So this is awesome if you don't have a second shooter. And my wonderful wife is kind of my second shooter. She
Buy
always
another
looks great.
phone
Consider
device.
that. But if you don't have that, you're able to use
You buy a PS5.
not just a camera, but also a gimbal. So wherever you go, you're going to get batteries and footage with this thing. Not going to have internet shaky, handheld camera, whatever it gets. No matter where you go, it's going to be nice and smooth.
There's only one person with email.
Oh, it's going to be
You have a million people inside one guy.
Thank you. Now, you obviously want
It's just not so if you have receipts on a fucking psycho, fucking receipt. I still have receipts from my dresser. I still have the box of the basement.
And I'm pleased to say the battery performance
I had the fucking receipts on the original fucking YouTube channel I had on
2
there
hours
that
and
had
22
seen
minutes.
it
We
on
got
it. Look
a
up Mothman
only
Ortega.
50% battery remaining.
You can find the original fucking videos that I had on the other account.
Flashes really brightly at you like, hey, only 10%
That
battery.
it's fair
I'm
enough
running
to be able
long-form
to tell you
video tests to
about
see if
shit
this
if
camera
you
would ever overheat in my studio, as well as to see how long the internal battery would last.
not
Not
really
with the
knowing
additional
it.
battery pack, just with the
I'm not really
standard
I can
Osmo unit with no additional battery power supply or
so I can
anything like
show you
that.
that.
And the unit ran for over 2.5
not really,
hours, which is
bad-
honestly mind-blowing.
bad as it seems. I can share
Did
this.
you want me to stop? Okay, if you are a creator who thinks you're going to record longer than 2.5 hours, I would highly encourage you to
Really sure if
purchase
I could do
the
this.
combo kit, which
Yeah.
comes with that, which will increase the
I only
overall
use this
runtime.
computer
You can also plug in
for
a
email
USB-C
needs to
cable
affect my
directly into the
phone.
Osmo
If I
and run
detach the
off
phone
of
device
power, so you can have
and get
continuous
another
power
thing.
with that USB-C slot.
I'm not
on the
watching.
Osmo. So
I'm not watching
overall,
porn.
this gives
I'm not like
2
sitting there
thumbs up.
flopping
I can't do 2. I'll put another one
there
right there.
watching
2 thumbs up
that
for
bad.
battery life. Now, when it comes to
I have
getting
this
high quality audio, you do have a few options
at
here.
random
First would be
things.
the internal microphone, which is actually
I'm
what you're
not
hearing right now. It's a very
really
high quality internal
into-
microphone, which I love.
I mean,
You do have a
unfortunately,
couple
like on
other
Facebook,
options
you
as
chat
well.
with
Now, your
people,
second
they
option
fucking
for audio
offend
would be
you.
this wireless microphone.
All
This is the
sorts of shit, like,
DJI
they
Mic
gonna
2
fucking
system,
think that
which
you're
actually
weird if
comes
you
with this
allowed
unit
to
if
do
you
that.
purchase the creator combo. So I'd encourage you to do that. This is a great wireless audio
Goes
unit
back
that pairs
all the way.
very seamlessly. All you gotta do is turn this little microphone on, and the built-in receiver on the Pocket 3 pairs in just like 2 seconds or less. And then your third option for audio would be
I don't use this
USB-C
computer to
microphone.
so I can
currently, I
turn the
actually
switch
have a
on and then
USB-C
just watch
interface that I'm
Nintendo
using
shit
as
and
my
going
mic
forth
source.
and
I have the
not realizing
Rodecaster Pro 2. over
whether or
here on
not
the
you're
side.
going to be
I
blamed
have that
for,
hooked up to my
people,
Shure SM7.
people's
So this
misfortunes
is
to
a
try
way
to take your
to use
identity and then trying to
USB-C
take your
microphone like this DJI
organs
Mic
out of your
2
body and
or
saying that
USB-C
you're
interfaces. Plug that
something
into
more
the
than
Osmo
skin and
Pocket
bone.
3
You can heal up
via
like
the
nothing
USB-C
happened.
slot,
And go
and now
forth
you're
and they keep
capturing
on
high
telling me that
quality
shit.
USB-C
They
audio.
tell me that
Now,
shit.
there
I
are
never
some
went
even
back
more
there. I don't
advanced
ever want to
features
go
with
back
the
there.
Pocket
Tell
3
me
that
that shit.
especially help you
Yeah.
get better
The reason why they bail you out is
exposure.
because of
I'm
that.
gonna
Then I
let our
don't know.
editor,
What else
Nate
to do.
from the Think Media team, explain a few of those features.
Great thing about the Osmo Pocket 3 is it does have manual control. So right now, I have all my settings locked in, how I see fit, ISO, shutter speed, white balance. And one thing you'll need if you decide to shoot with a lower shutter speed is an ND filter. So I actually have this little ND filter I can put onto the action camera, dial in my exposure exactly how I see fit. And that allows you to get better image quality out of this tiny little camera. So I wanted to experiment with the color profiles of this camera. What's great about this camera is it does shoot 10-bit video, so you can actually color grade this footage. Currently I'm shooting in the D-Log M profile. Now when this footage looks straight up out of camera, it does not look great, it looks very washed out, but you can manipulate the colors in post-production and get something more custom for your videos. So this will have better dynamic range, the highlights are captured more, shadows more, and has less artificial sharpening. Let's switch over to the auto color profile, the natural profile in this camera. And here is the normal color profile of this camera. So this looks really good if you just want to film with your camera.
I gained a little bit. I was paper thin back
However, I
11
do
months
feel
ago.
like sometimes it's a little bit too
When I
sharp.
uploaded the
And
thing, I
I'm
was
a
like, I
filmmaker,
was
so I
a
like to color grade
thinner
my
person.
videos, so
Laying down,
I
I
like
had
to shoot
more
in D-Log and Pro. So here goes to a side-by-side comparison
because of all
between
the shit
normal
I eat.
and D-Log.
Going forth, you have to say that I think they're trying to dupe me by saying you're supposed to eat 3 meals a day. I don't like breakfast, but I still eat lunch, dinner. Like, I have the money to be able to spend that. They make like $100,000 or whatever, $50,000 or $50,000, whatever the fuck amount know.
The normal picture profile is great when you just want
Still
a
a
quick
lot of money
turnaround. You
for
want it
them
to
to
look
take
pretty
my-
decent on our camera. So if you're a
Take my
blogger
check
and don't
away
want
and say
color
that
grade,
they spend
that
it
is the
on like
simplest
if
way
I
to go
need
about
like
it. I, as a filmmaker, like to mess around with color grading, and D-Log definitely helps eliminate that digital over-sharpened look. So currently, with all its footage I've been shooting with D-Log, I've been using the LUT supplied by DJI, and quickly with just one adjustment, you can get a really decent look without many tweaks in post-production.
Thanks so much for those tips, Nate. Super helpful. Now,
wanted to
back
see
to our
back
main
then
question.
that
Is
they
this the
weren't there.
best
It
vlogging
was
camera in
on
2024 for
the
creators?
road
In our experience, I think the answer is very clear.
Didn't harm
Yes. Yes, it
anybody.
is. If I was going to go out and vlog today, I have a ton
No,
of
this
options.
plan that
in
came
the
back
studio.
center
We
was
got
weird
action
as
cameras.
fucking
We got small point
tell
shoots.
you,
We just got this
uh,
camera actually that just came in, the ZV-E10 Mark II.
should
If I
have
was gonna
initially
go out
and
and
then
vlog
acting
today,
like
the
they
first
didn't
camera that I would reach
they
for
need you for
would be the
something. I
Mark
already
III.
would have
But
been
also don't think that
experimenting
this
on
camera
it,
is just
play
limited
things, so
towards vloggers. This camera can do a
I
lot
don't
for
think that
filmmakers, creators,
I have,
YouTubers.
no
We
way.
didn't even
It's
dive
like
into the
think
fact that this
you're-
camera
you're
can be used
more
as a
than whatever
high
the fuck
quality
they're trying to
webcam.
do,
So
right?
streamers
Say
or
that
people
I
who
got
run
that
video
diagnosis
coaching businesses, or you want to put some calls,
and my
all can
teeth
leverage
were out,
photography
and
for your live stream
gave me
needs. There really
COVID.
is just so much
Got
that this
COVID
camera
somehow,
can do.
and
If there's
COVID's
anything else you're
nasty.
curious about,
COVID will
in
make
regards
you
to the
fucking
vlogging, let us
sneeze
know down in the comments
and
below.
nose
We'll
will
be sure
run
to
and
help you out. If you want to see a comparison
nose will
between the
keep running on
Pocket 3,
COVID.
the
COVID
Sony
is,
ZV-1 Mark II, and the Canon
as you
E10,
believe that
check out this video right here
they
so you can see
designed that
how
to
all three of those stack up against each other. And we'll see you in the next video.
make people get ill.
Type video editing in Google and you'll find three options. Option 1, software, limited features, basic results. Option 2, a flaky freelancer, unreliable, inconsistent quality. Option 3, VidPros. Professional quality, dedicated editors, reliable service. If you have the budget, make sure your content is the best it can possibly be. Choose VidPros today.
I'll go. Come on, buddy. I'll go. Why are you chasing a dog?
Oh, that's not a dog. That's Alga, the algorithm. I catch it, I get views. And then I get brand deals. That's how I make my money. That's how you make money. What happens if you don't catch it? Huh. I never thought about it. I guess I
Yeah,
don't.
still only thing is on the
Make money.
views results. I don't fucking still live on the views results.
Why?
They all can catch COVID.
You got a better way?
I'm not like sitting there rubbing my balls
do,
against
actually.
any of the
Good job.
TVs or any of that shit, but
I make
So
money by
fucking
selling things like
contagious. They
courses and memberships and
tell you
coaching
that.
directly to my subscribers without having to chase
that if
it.
you had something
So you don't have to
infecting
run
or
around
something
and
have to
chase
go.
things
I
to
still
make
went to the thing, even though I was sick. So those fuckers could
What is
easily
that?
done something worse, way
That's
worse
new
for the shit that
Looks
that
like
it
they
was
changed it.
the dissolve
the
the
name of that
issue,
site
whatever
again?
the fuck, by going in and just going in and they ain't doing anything to me. So I think that to be able to tell you that. Not crazy, bitch.
So welcome to my top 50 RPGs of all time. Yes, you heard that right. I'm going to talk about 50 RPGs that I believe are some of the best on console. And I have to say, before I begin, this is just my list. I'm having a lot of fun today. I finished most of these games. I played them all, and I really enjoyed these games over the years. And it's been really difficult to condense it to 50. I wish I could do 100 RPGs. Then I could do it justice with all the other ones I had to leave out because I do have honorable mentions like Octopath Traveler should be in there. STEM activities. Xenoblade Chronicles X should be there. Rogue Galaxy should be there. And I've also got to mention the Trail series. Yakuza definitely should be there. So I'm stating that a lot of games should be in this list. I can't put them all in. But I'll ask you guys, what are some of your favorite RPGs of all time? Let me know down below. And for my first 10, it is the groundwork. It is the foundation of RPGs and JRPGs that were going to come after this. These set the foundations, as I say. I'm going to start off with number 1. You know I'm going to say it. It is Phantasy Star. We're going to start off with this great game. This game floored me in 1988 when I first saw it. It was groundbreaking on the Sega Master System. We'd never seen anything like this in this country at that time, especially having anime-style graphics, the monster designs, the monster graphics, the animation. It was groundbreaking, and as I said, it set the foundation. And this made me an RPG fan for life. There's been a few things in my life that really influenced me, like Star Wars, and I would say this for video games. This made me become a hardcore RPG fan for life. What was also amazing, there was space travel in this game. You could travel to different planets. It felt like an open world game, and there's also different modes of transportation for getting you around the planets. I'd never seen anything like this. These had my friends, and we were absolutely blown away that summer. Now, on the horizon was the Sega Genesis, and all the kids in the neighborhood were so excited to get this. Me and my friend Andrew were really excited to get this because there was a lot of cool arcade ports coming, but there was an original RPG coming, a sequel to that first game, and that's for Phantasy Star 2. And I gotta say, when this blazed onto the Sega Genesis, we were absolutely floored. Yes, it was missing the background. It had a grid-based background, but it didn't matter because this game was deeper and bigger than the original Phantasy Star. More characters, more magic. This game was incredible. Plus, a story going up against Mother Brain that we couldn't believe at the time. And it had some tragedy in it, which I will not ruin for anybody, but I recommend everybody play Phantasy Star 2. This is one of the greatest RPGs on the Sega Genesis. And it was the greatest game on the Sega Genesis until Phantasy Star 4 came out. This game was the great ending to the series, and I still have a small tear because there's never been a continuation. Yes, there was a Phantasy Star online games, but the single-player RPG series kind of came to an end at this point. But it ended with an explosion. And this game, the graphics, with the storyline, it wrapped up all of the storylines from the other three and brought it together and then told a brand new storyline and added to that with the most incredible boss encounters at the end. This game still blows me away to this day. The modes of transportation, the traversing the planets, the graphics at the time, everything was really working for Phantasy Star 4. Now, in 1986 in Japan, a small series began that would change the world, would change Japan, and it would eventually change North America, and that was Dragon Quest. It was released here in '89 as Dragon Warrior. This is my original copy I bought back then. And yes, I played Phantasy Star before this, and Phantasy Star was a better RPG, but I didn't own Phantasy Star. I was playing that down the road at my friend's place. This, I crossed the border to get with my parents, and I bought this. I brought it home, and it was an RPG on the Nintendo. That's where the big selling point was here, and it wasn't a massive hit like it was in Japan. They couldn't change the name to Dragon Quest over here because of licensing at the time, but we still got the very first one, and it captured my imagination, even though the combat music was infuriating. Next up is Dragon Warrior 4, Dragon Quest 4 in Japan. We finally got it over here back in the 90s. And I gotta say, this is one of my favorites in the series. And the reason why is because I love playing as all of the different characters in here. Like, I get to play Saloon, Merchant. I love that. Entire best. I love all the different characters in this game.
They have all that, buddy.
Together, and they have a little caravan that they go around in. I thought
I got stocks and mobs too.
And this, to me, at that moment in time, was probably one of the best RPGs I played. I thought it was just so incredible. And I believe it's one of the best games on the original Nintendo. Now, this is a major moment in the Dragon Warrior series because it finally came over here and was finally
better than some fucking weird-ass guys.
Dragon Quest 8.
London.
And I just want to say something that I really love the Akira Toriyama artwork here. I love these characters. Very heartfelt storyline. It actually made my wife cry when she originally finished this game. She really got attached to the characters. But there was something about this game. It really felt more open world. And just the 3D that this game presented at that time was absolutely amazing, and I love traversing the world, exploring, finding secrets,
Spell
fighting
my name on
monsters,
it.
and just the combat alone in
I'm
3D
not
was like,
fucking
wow,
goddamn
it's to the
foreigner
next level in the Dragon
scams
Quest
people
series,
for
and this is
shit
still
for fucking
one of the
being
highlights in the entire Dragon
fucking
Quest
e-bagger.
series.
I ain't begging nobody for anything.
Now, this game really makes me happy
I can get a
because
9 to 5 and be able to wake up and have energy, still be able to do all that shit instead of fawning on fucking weird ass.
and it was really
People
embraced
get
by
hate
nearly
stuff handed to
everybody
them.
in the video game community. Everybody all of a sudden was like, I love Dragon Quest. And I was like,
Spell my
yes,
name on
this
there
game is
real
bringing in a
fast.
brand
I
new
don't fucking
audience.
tell you
I was really
some
happy to
creepy
see
shit
that.
because
But
it's
there's a
fucking
reason
weird.
why. Great characters, great storyline,
Buy whatever
great
the fuck
environment.
you need
Like,
to
I
tell
mean,
me shit I can.
traversing the world on your horse,
Okay, let me
combat again here was really
download
stellar.
software
You do new things,
to
climbing,
draw
all that kind of stuff.
the
But
draw
this game
anime. I
really
can do all
set the
that
Dragon
shit.
Quest series in a
Fucking
brand new
guys,
3D
crazy.
direction that was stunning to look
You
at.
know, I sold
And
my
also,
software to
like
draw
all the
some
rest of the
crazy
Dragon
shit
Quest
on
series,
design
I
shit.
brought it home to you.
You
because
can
it had all
animate
those
shit
things,
on the
the
PC. You
slime,
can buy
the
it.
monsters that you remember in some of
Like
the older
$10 a
games
month,
as
you
well.
can
So
buy
it's
it.
great for new players
Buy
and
software
old
or
players.
put all that shit on there. It's not that common to have shit
Now,
nowadays.
finally,
Like
yes, I know we're
projector
beginning with the Final
and tracing
Fantasy
your
series.
face
We
and
have to
doing all that
begin
shit like
at
back
the
to
beginning
the
with
camera
Final Fantasy 1.
image being
And they thought the company was
bad
going
on
to go
all
out
that
of
shit
business,
back
so they're
then.
like,
It's
well,
so
let's call it
fucking
Final
crazy.
Fantasy because we won't be making any more of these. Yes, they never made any more Final Fantasies after this, guys. Just so you know. This game blew me away in the early 90s. It really was the end of the Nintendo in a way. The Nintendo had kind of seen its day, and we were moving on to different machines like the Sega Genesis and some graphics. And then this game came out, and I saw Nintendo Power, and I'm like, Final Fantasy.
I rearranged
Well, I
the
like
fucking
RPGs.
city and
I
shit,
love
but it's
RPGs
fucking
back
weird. They
then.
knocked down the
Oh,
shit they gave them the fucking currency to be able to have people that they just
and it kind of
fucking
threw me
just
back.
use to
So
be
I'm
able to
like,
fucking
I'll
come
give
back
it a
and
go. And I came back from San Francisco. I
rebuild
took with
this.
my parents. I bought this plus some other games. This was the game that hooked me that summer. I couldn't believe it, and I didn't really realize I was playing the beginning of a massive franchise to come. I was just sitting in my basement playing Final Fantasy
My art's way
enjoying
better.
the
It's fucking
combat,
creepy
and how
fucking
you could
guy
make your
from
own parties. That was a really big deal in this game.
From,
And the graphics at the time
London.
were really good. But overall, this is a really strong RPG on the NES.
They're
I
in
said
hand,
the
it's in my
Dragon
ass like a
Warrior
thing.
4
Fucking
is one of
thing
the
to have.
best. So is Final
But we have
Fantasy.
stocks and
And it's
bonds
looked
and
at as
Sega's and
classic
meta, but you don't want to use
for
them until
obvious
you need them.
reasons.
Be able to tell you that raw races and they guys couldn't do anything. Yeah, they'll tell you that.
Now,
shit.
the
They'll
Super
fucking-
Nintendo came out, and
So
again,
not on Mike
my
Lopez,
Nintendo,
not any
we're
of those
so
assholes.
excited because we were getting Final Fantasy II, which was Final Fantasy IV in Japan. Up to this point, we
That's by
always
John
had
Anthony
Final
fucking
Fantasy
Ortega.
I on
I
the
also
NES.
think it's
So when
creepy
we saw
shit.
the graphics of what the Super Nintendo could do, we couldn't wait. When we saw these graphics, we're like, oh my god, I can't wait to go on these adventures in this game. And yes, the combat was stunning, the overheads were stunning, the storyline with Cecil as a knight and kind of breaking away from the Empire was really powerful stuff at the time. For anybody who's played this game, you know, and there's tragedy in this game, and there's love in this game, there's like a lot of beautiful little elements in this game, but it was a strong RPG, and what a selling point on the Super Nintendo, and I think a lot of people jumped on it at that point and were like, I like RPGs because this one was a real selling one for the Super Nintendo. Now I can say that one of my most anticipated games of all time at this time was on the Super Nintendo, and it was a follow-up to the other game, and it was Final Fantasy III. Right here, here's my original copy I bought back when I was 20 years old, 30 years ago. I love this game, and me and all my friends are so excited. And this is number 6 in the series in Japan. We got it as number 3 because the last one was called Final Fantasy II. So they're like, okay, we'll just skip over 5 and bring over 6. Still a tragedy. And I just want to say, Final Fantasy V should be in this list. It's very hard for me to take it off. It's really tough. Some things have to go. But Final Fantasy III, what was going on here? Great storyline, but the visuals had been taken up another notch. Final Fantasy II was really stunning, but this was like another level. And it's funny to look at it now. You're looking at, oh, beautiful pixelated graphics, but at the time, they were cutting edge. And the combat was beautiful. The storyline was really amazing. The music, the opera scenes, the ghost train, everything about this game was a 10 out of 10. And I was so sad when the game ended, and I was like, will I ever be this excited for an RPG again? And yes, I would, but this game was a stellar moment back when I was 20 years old.
Basically, things happen. Something good to come out of it.
Now, the next game is an interesting one because at this point, all of the Final Fantasy games had come out on Nintendo consoles. We thought this game would come out on a Nintendo console, but no. Final Fantasy VII came straight to the PlayStation on CD, and that's what has to be mentioned about this. This was the first Final Fantasy that was on CD-ROM.
They tell you all
And
that
we
shit.
couldn't
They
believe it
can't
at the time.
really
The
do what they're
graphics,
saying.
I remember looking at Midgar and seeing those opening cinemas going, I can't think of video games looking better than this at the time. I was like, look at this. And it was fascinating. It kind of had like sci-fi elements to it. It was like steampunk in a way, futuristic, but also medieval at the same time. And as I said, Final Fantasy VI, I thought, how can it look better than that? How can it be better than that? And then this game came out. And this game at the time, I want to say, we knew it was something special. You really connected with the characters. You got to know Cloud and Tifa. And it was so fascinating to enter this world. And you'd never played a game like this in 3D that was an RPG. And I just remember every night stunned at the next environment that I get to. It's funny to look back on it now. You're like, oh, that's kind of novel. But at the time, it was really groundbreaking and still a classic. And a lot of people were like at the time saying, Final Fantasy VI, pixelated, is the epitome of Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy VII turned off some people because it went into 3D and it was so different. And you either went with it or you didn't. And I definitely went with it. And I was so excited at this point for the future of Final Fantasy.
Fuck you, dude.
Next up is a beloved game for me, and I'm going to explain why. And that is Final Fantasy IX. Why this is a beloved game is because, with 7 and 8, they kind of went a bit futuristic at times. This one brought it back home with crystals, with airships, with a medieval setting, introducing Vivi, one of the most charming characters in Final Fantasy history. And I just fell in love. I fell in love with the main characters. And as I said before in some of my reviews in this game, it's in a way, it's very old school Disney in that it's very charming, it's very exciting, and there's a lot of humor in this game. And I think that's what worked for this game so well. And it wasn't just like a serious RPG. There's a lot of humor. You got to connect with the characters through that humor and get to know them. And the combat was great, the music, classic stuff, like all the Final Fantasies were at this time. But Final Fantasy IX is a true classic. My wife finished this game as well and absolutely loved it. And again, she had a tear in her eye at the end of this game because it was so charming. And that's the best way I can put Final Fantasy IX, to say charming. Now, I bet you can start to see a pattern here because we were getting brand new hardware with the PS2. And we were really excited about that. Metal Gear Solid 2, we're like, yes, count me in. But also, there was another Final Fantasy game launching with it, and that was Final Fantasy X. And this really sold me on the new hardware. I remember playing it that Christmas and going, I can't believe it. You see it, right? Every console, I was like, I can't believe how good this looks. But it was a fascinating story, and I just want to say something about this game. It's got a really weird story. Like, I remember the time being really turned off by the story, by the game, by everything. It just was so off-putting. As a Final Fantasy fan, I was like, oh, I don't know if I really like the main character. Oh, we're in this other world. This is kind of weird. I don't know if I really connect with these characters and all of that. And the one thing I've said about this game, it ages so gracefully like no other Final Fantasy. This game now, to me, every year I look back on it fonder and fonder. It's not just nostalgia, but when you look at Final Fantasy and some of the directions they've gone in now, this is a true Final Fantasy game. It's still turn-based at the time. And really great characters, really strong characters, and really that weird storyline I talked about is fascinating now. And I really, really enjoy it now looking back at it. And it's one of those games that gets better with every single year. I've said that. It's one of those games that go in the sand, you get in 100 years, you're like, well, that's still damn amazing. And that's Final Fantasy X. Okay, we have to hold back the tears for this one. We have to hold back the tears for this one. I was 21 years old, 29 years ago at the time of filming this today. Chrono Trigger. Oh my God, I just, when I picked up my copy of Chrono Trigger, I just always take a big sigh And it's just such a highlight moment in RPG history. And there's so many things going on here. We had the amazing Akira Toriyama artwork when he was really designing all of the characters, and he didn't have all these assistants around him. The characters were unbelievable, and I remember seeing them going, "I'm sold." And just being a SquareSoft RPG, we had Sakaguchi with Yuji Horii there. All of them, the trio came together, and Gold was born. Gold was born. And I recommend this game to everyone to play it. It's a wonderful game on the Super Nintendo, a highlight in RPG history with the overhead battle system, the time traveling in this game, fascinating stuff with Chrono and all of the characters, Fog in there. Everybody was charming, everything was working. And I bought the soundtrack on CD before I even owned the game. I spent too much money on it back then. It was like $56 for the CD soundtrack back 29 years ago. And I remember listening to it every night, and I fell in love with the music. And then I fell in love with the music again when I played the game. A true classic.
There goes Psycho.
A little bit of butter. Just a little bit of butter. Just a little bit of butter, right?
Just a smidge.
Just a little bit.
A scrumptious.
Yeah. So, look at that. Look how nice that looks, right?
YouTube, hello, Retro Reclaiming here with a short pickups video, mainly because I just want to unbox this package that I've got. I'm definitely going to unbox it today if I'm rated. I wouldn't get it done. But yeah,